Well, good morning. My name is Craig Blanchette, and it's really an honor for me to host this weekly Health Coach Huddle Up. This Health Coach Huddle is for anybody that's part of our Health Coach organization. We have quite a little team here, and we've got a couple of leaders and trainers that have been training as part of this our Friday Health Coach Huddle. For those of you that are joining us that maybe haven't joined in a while, I do post this both on Vimeo and on YouTube. I try to do it within 24 hours, but if you go to YouTube and type in Health Coach Huddle, you can find it that way. You can also get there by going to Vimeo and type in Health Coach Huddle. I also have in our on the Optimal Health Coach page, the links to subscribe. If you subscribe to those feeds, every time I update it with a new video, it'll automatically show you that you've got a new video available. And then I also publish a podcast called, I think it's called Health Coach Huddle, believe it or not. So anyway, all that to say is if you're watching this live and you'd like to review it later, those are some ways to do it. And if you're watching this later and you want to attend with us live, we do this Fridays at 9 a.m. Pacific. And so had a great month, and we've got some great training. Today we're going to be really talking about the art of invitation and the reality of what we do as health coaches is we are constantly in the mode of inviting, not pressuring, not selling, but inviting. And this particular last week, I was over in Spokane, and Dr. Joe Abate, he said in his introduction to an event, he said one of the things that he loves about this concept, he goes, we're not fixers, we're not trying to fix people, we're not trying to help people. He goes, if you're trying to fix people, if you're fixers, you're assuming people are broken right from the beginning. If you're helping people, you're assuming that they need help. He goes, instead, what if we were servants and we served people in any way that we can? And sometimes that might be helping, of course, in certain ways, but coming from the standpoint of servanthood, I think is what Optavia really is all about. And so we've got a lot of resources that we have available to us, but none of them are relevant until we make that connection. So we're going to be discussing today what it's like to make that connection and then make the invitation when you see somebody that says, I need help, and how we can serve them through the art of invitation. So it's my pleasure to bring on our training team, Daniela and Diane and Kim. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Craig. I love what you were sharing because it resonates with me deeply because of something Dr. A once said, which is that really we're all a mess. And so if we can just serve one another to help each other become the best version of ourselves, that's really what it's all about, right? So yeah, I love that. Thank you. Well, today we're going to piggyback our training off of last week and see if we can refine our skill together even more. I'm really excited today because of the feedback we got last week and our experience with all of you last week. We're super excited about what we get to share today, and really hopeful and excited that it will level us all up in our ability to invite, which is really the cornerstone of anything that we do together. So I'm going to toss this over to Kim. She's got some great thoughts to get us started this morning.
Yeah, I do. I'm going back to what Craig said. I think that's a really great thing. Boy, what if we went into every conversation with, I'm not here to fix, I'm not here to help, but I'm here to serve. Doesn't that take the pressure off of our shoulders? I don't have to know all the answers. It's not, honestly, I think I needed to hear that today, Craig. So thank you for opening with that, because sometimes I think, oh, if I just worked harder, if I did more, and I can monopolize all my time, and that's not healthy for me, and it doesn't really help them. So I love that if we can all enter with that mind frame this morning, I think we'll get a lot out of today. So I want to open with something to think about, a question to think about. Have you ever saw a script or heard someone model a conversation or an idea, an example? Maybe you even got really excited and you set out to, make that phone call, type that message, add that to the next conversation that you have, and all of a sudden you freeze. Anybody have that experience? It's funny, even last week when we were working, in preparation for last week's meeting, we worked with the document that we shared with you. And when it came time to break into our groups, I had this thought running through my head, like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I could, I can model it, I can say the words, but could I really go to somebody on my contact list and do this? And what I realized from that, it was a great experience and we had a great conversation afterwards too. But I realized that I probably was missing a couple steps that is going to really help that document be effective. And so I wanted to share those with you today. The first thing that you need to know when you're going out to do an invitation of any kind is you need to know the person that you're inviting. So if you're thinking about your list and somebody that's on your heart and mind, think about that person and think about the level of relationship that you have with them, because that's going to impact what kind of invitation and how you present that invitation. So that's the first step. The second step is to really know your purpose. What is that actual invitation going to be? And then the third step, which goes really well with what Craig mentioned this morning, is I just phrased it, check yourself. We need to realize that this invitation is ultimately about connecting, relating, and serving. And so I think when, for instance, I was talking with Diane. Diane said she put a Facebook post up about, hey, what movie would you recommend? Well, that's actually an invitation for her friends to engage with her and for her to be able to relate with them and learn about them and see what they have in common. Had nothing to do with offering the program necessarily, but by getting to know people better, we might be able to serve them in that way. It might be more of a formal invitation to watch video so that they could learn what we do, so that ultimately, this is the serving piece, they might be able to serve their friends by connecting them to us. So I'm hoping that those three things will help all of us really figure out how to make this document work for us and as we invite each other. And we wanted to give some examples so that you can see how this works. And it's a little different depending on who the person is, what that purpose or invitation is. But always we want to check ourselves and make sure that we're connecting, relating, and serving. And so I'm hoping one of us can share the document and see that this is not a script, it's more of an outline. So Daniela, did you want to add something? Oh, you're on mute.
No, I just was popping up the script. I was indicating that I would do that for you.
Well, perfect. So as we model a few of these invitations, I would love it if you could think in your mind, if we are doing a good job of matching the person with the purpose, the invitation itself. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to do a model of conversation with Daniela. And Daniela is a friend of mine who she's asked me some things about what I do, but I haven't gone into a lot of detail. I've pretty much just told her, I'm a health coach, I'm excited about it, and that's pretty much all she knows. And so I might be modeling this with, well, let's see.
Now the page I see is just white.
Yeah, I was going to say, does anybody else see?
You're going to make it your own. Come on.
Yeah. That's weird because I had it set up. Let me try something different here. Now is it working?
Yes. For some reason, my mind just went blank. I don't know. So, all right. So, hey, Daniela, you remember the other day when you were asking me about what I did as a health coach?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, well, I got to thinking, you know, being a health coach is something I'm so passionate about. When I found out about, when I met my health coach in the community, I was in a really desperate place, and just coming to a lot of different roadblocks and dead ends. And I'm really passionate about helping people that are in that same position as I was. And unfortunately, I don't know all those people. And so I'm wondering if you might be willing to do me a favor. I'm looking to help find, you know, I'm looking for customers, for people who would love to experience the program, who might want to partner with me. But really, I'm looking for people who might be referring those people to me that I don't know. And I'm wondering, would you be willing to watch a short video just so you know a little bit about what I do? And then if people come to mind, you can kind of connect us together and see if that would be a good fit for them and help them so they're not stuck in that same position that I was so long ago.
Oh yeah, I can watch a video for you, Kim. Of course, I remember your change and just how different you looked and how excited you've been. So yeah, I can do that.
Awesome.
Send it to me. Is it like something I have to go a certain place, or how's that going to look?
Yeah, well, do you, it's probably about 15 minutes. Is there a time that you think you might be able to watch that, you know, in the next few days or something?
Oh, I can definitely watch it on Sunday.
Okay, so I'll send that to you, and then could we connect either that same day or the following day to talk, just to so make sure I can answer any questions you might have?
Yeah, maybe Monday morning.
Okay, perfect. I'll send it to you Sunday, and then we can chat on Monday. And let's see. Would 9 o'clock work? Okay.
Well, I'm just getting. Can we do 9:30? Would that work?
Sure, I'll put that on my calendar. Thank you so much for being willing just to learn about what I do, and I'm excited to see what resonates with you and if you have any questions.
Yeah, I'm interested in learning more.
Okay.
So Kim, I have a question for you. What, on a scale of 0, stranger, 10 would be your spouse? So probably she's not your spouse, so she can't be a 10. But where is this relationship? You know, where's the warmth or closeness of this relationship, would you say, in your example?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that. So I would consider, you know, so Daniela could be like super close and I would have this conversation with her, but I was actually picturing it could be as cold as, in my mind, as somebody that I see on a regular basis. I have like kind of more of an acquaintance. So we know each other. We have a great example, I would say, for me would be people I see at church. You know, they know quite a bit about what I mean, they know I'm a health coach. They're friends with me on Facebook. They see a lot of my posts, but I've never actually talked about in more detail what that even means.
That's awesome. And then second, I loved the flow of it. I mean, you were searching around a little bit for words, but
Yeah.
I love what you said about the reason. You showed some interest, and then can you watch this video and then, so you can get a little big picture of what I do and how I do it. It wasn't trying to say, I want you to do this. And I liked how that felt. It's just more of an informational, hey, did you know that there's something like this happening? And here's the video to show you more, and then let's talk about it. It just felt really good. Thank you.
Yeah, and so what I'm hoping that we can see it through these different examples is the different components are there, but it may sound very different. And we only had an opportunity to give one sample last week. So I think, Daniela, you were going to do another example with Diane, right?
I am ready to do that. I'm just wondering, Craig, do you know why there's red marks on the screen, or am I the only one seeing that? I can't hear you because you're muted, Craig.
Somebody on an iPhone or iPad has the annotation on, and so if you just click clear all, that will solve
Where do I
that.
hit clear all?
You can't do it.
Oh, the person doing it has to do it. Okay.
I'm trying to work it out, though.
We can deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So we've
If
all
you
had
stop
small
share,
children.
If you just stop share and start share, it'll go away.
Oh, it will? Okay, I'll do that real quick then.
Oh.
There we go. Is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So this next one is going to have a little different take, a little different relationship. So I'm going to be calling up Diane. And one thing I want to be really direct with. So I am using an example that is not my own story. And what it reminded me of is, oh, this is kind of how a newer health coach feels, right? They're still kind of trying to get their arms around their own story, kind of think, how does all this work with the script? And so I wanted to share directly that I actually mentally rehearsed this conversation in such a way that I even have it written. It's in my scratch handwriting, but I have it there because I think sometimes we forget that when we're going to do something newer, and so for me this is newer because it's not my story, you'll hear that within, and so I needed to mentally rehearse or practice that. And so I have, I wrote it out. That's the way I mentally rehearse things, is I write it out, and I won't be reading it word for word, but it gives me little places that will jog my memory. So I just wanted to share that because I wanted to be really direct and say that we don't just pull these things out of the air instantaneously. They're things that we have practiced. And so when it is our own story and it is our own sort of direction, then it's easier, right? And the reason I'm not using my own is because I don't think it's as relatable to everybody, because we have a medical practice and so it's just a little different. I wanted to use a story that was really relatable to most health coaches to be able to move this forward. So here we go. Diane, are you ready out there?
I am ready.
Okay, awesome. So hey Diane, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking.
Oh, good. The weather has been kind of nice, and then it kind of went back to the old stuff, huh?
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at blue skies right now, so I'm happy.
Oh, lucky you. I'm not. Well, Diane, do you have just a few minutes? Am I catching you at a good time?
Yeah, no, this is really good right now.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm calling because there's something that I'm super excited about, and I'd love to share what has happened in my life. Would that be all right?
Yeah, so tell me what's going on.
Okay, so, well, I know we haven't, really been together, seen each other in a while, because you're obviously in a sunny place and I'm not, but but you probably haven't even gotten a chance to really know that I've lost 50 pounds.
50 pounds? Are you seriously? Wow. And that is exciting.
Isn't it? And well, what's super exciting about the health plan that I'm using, Diane, is not even really the 50 pounds, but I'm not taking my my insulin anymore. And you remember how I used to have to take insulin everywhere we went?
Oh gosh, yeah. That just hardly ever happens, Daniela.
I know. And I'm not taking it anymore, and I'm not taking my blood pressure medicine anymore either.
Wow.
It's crazy, right? Well, you can imagine how excited I am. And Diane, I've just decided to help other people in the same way that I was helped. And so I'm wondering if you might help me out with something.
Well, what is it that you need me to do, Daniela?
Well, I would so love it if you would just watch a short video that I'm going to send you that shares about what I do exactly to help people and what I'm excited about. And that way, if you encounter somebody that that maybe is like me, or maybe they have other medical issues, or their weight's driving them crazy, you might connect us. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't know someone who's struggling with their health in some shape or form? I know so many diabetics and people on high blood pressure medications. I'd love to watch a video.
Oh, that would be so great, because my objective really is to get the word out, and and also to have partners come and join me in spreading this word and helping people get healthy. And who knows who those people are going to be. And so all these people that I don't know, so I'm so excited. Thank you for letting me do this. When might you have some time to watch about a 15-minute video?
Well, today's going to be a really busy day, so how about tomorrow evening. I can see myself watching it tomorrow night.
Okay, that would be awesome. And I would love to chat with you for just maybe 5 or 10 minutes afterwards in case you have questions. When would be a good time for us to do that?
Well, Sunday evening would work for me after 8 o'clock if that's not too late.
Yeah, does 8:30 work for you?
Yep, 8:30 would be perfect.
Let's do that. Wow, thank you so much, Diane. I look forward to hearing what you think.
Yeah, and I'm excited to know more about what it is you're doing, Daniela, because it sounds really fabulous.
Okay, great. Thank you, Diane. I appreciate it. And I just wanted to switch for a minute because sometimes people do say no, right? And usually it's more because of what's going on in their world. So if Diane had said no for some reason because, oh, I just can't right now, I'm overwhelmed, you know, maybe real life happened, maybe her husband's ill, maybe, you know, there's something going on, and she says, I really can't do that right now. And she may not have revealed all that to me. And that's where we need to be careful that it's not about us, it's whatever's in their world. So Diane, can you kind of make a scenario of why you might not be able to do this right now for me?
Oh, yeah, you know, Daniela, we're in the middle of this move and we're combining 2 households, and even squeezing in 15 minutes to me sounds really overwhelming. So how about if you check back with me in a couple months and when my life has settled down a little bit? Would that be okay?
Oh, absolutely, Diane. I so understand. Life happens, right? And sometimes it gets on a tailspin, sort of, right? And we're reacting to things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really appreciate your considering, and I appreciate your being open to watching in the future. In the meantime, you know, if you find out that you've got some time sooner, or if you know anybody else that would just be willing to learn a little bit more about what I do, I'd appreciate that connection too.
Sure. Yeah, it's nice talking to you again, Daniela.
You too, Diane. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Now on that one there, Diane or Daniela, that I've heard people say at the end, you know, because they're not ready right now, but saying, you know, I wonder if you'd be interested in allowing me to update you on how things are going, because I know you're busy right now, but would you mind me updating you occasionally on how things are going? And that way you're basically asking if you can put them on a newsletter, or because eventually somebody will see that newsletter, and if you have a before and after picture, maybe a healthy recipe, they're going to warm up to like, wow, this is interesting, that kind of thing. Or friend them on Facebook, because otherwise, how are they going to, like, how are you going to be in their world? Do you have any ideas on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, one of the things that in my mental rehearsal was written down to, you know, invite Diane to receive my newsletter and healthy recipes. I didn't say that because I am human and imperfect. And so I didn't say that. And so I love that you brought that out, Craig, because I think any of us can forget a piece of it. But you know what? Is it the end of the world? Or could I message Diane or call her another day and say, hey, Diane, you know what? I just realized I've got this great newsletter that has some healthy tips and recipes. Would you be willing to receive that? And it'll share a little bit about what I do when it's convenient for you in the meantime, right? There's nothing wrong with getting back to somebody if we accidentally leave something out. Because like I said, I'm not perfect. And if somebody else here is, that's awesome. But I kind of expect that we're probably not. So thank you, Craig, because I love being able to be transparent like that. It was on my mental rehearsal script, but I got engaged in the conversation and it didn't get out of my mouth. So I love the reality of it. Thank you.
I'm curious if anybody else has feedback on how they thought that matched, you know, the person with the purpose, and if that was, you know, the level of relationship seemed natural.
It seemed fine. What I was going to suggest is what if you said something like, I appreciate that you're overwhelmed now, and can I check back with you in a couple weeks or 6 weeks or whatever? And then if they say yes, then put it on your calendar.
Yeah, so Eileen, the reason I wouldn't have said that in that scenario for me is that Diane was pretty specific about her point of overwhelm, and she gave me the time span when we would connect again. She actually gave that to me already. And so I would have put that in my calendar to get back to her in a couple months, because that's the time frame that she had given to me. And that's the heart of listening to the conversation, right? Really being connected and hearing the human being, so that we're not asking a question that they've already given us information about, and they get to feel heard. But I love that you brought that forward, because it is one of those things, again, that we all do, right? We are thinking about what we'd love to have happen in our world, and we're forgetting to step inside of theirs and hear what's really going on in their heartbeat.
That's good. I think Betsy has a comment too. You're muted, Betsy.
There you go. Oh.
Okay, there we go. I'm sure, I know Daniela does this, and for maybe newer health coaches, when you have that conversation, because we talk to so many different people, jot down a note that Diana's moving and she's overwhelmed. So when you do connect with her the next time, you say, oh, I just wanted to see how your move went, which tells her you're listening and you care about her, and not like you're reconnecting with her so that she can watch your video. So it's just one little added thing. I've done this in 40 years in my jewelry business, where I make little notes about somebody's kid sick or somebody's child's graduating from high school. How'd the graduation go? And it just shows that you actually care about them as individuals. Just a point.
Oh, I love that. That really gets to the connecting, relating, and serving piece. I love that, Betsy.
Yes, as a matter of fact, in our office, one of the things that makes us unique is we have built in our computer, we call them care pop-ups. And so if somebody comes in and says they're excited, they're expecting a new grandbaby, we put that in. So next time they come to check in, it pops up and says expecting new grandbaby. And we get to say, is grandbaby here yet? Or, what's going on? So absolutely, those are the notes that are far more important than the idea of what is it that I'm going to get out of this, or what's my next step. It's those notes. Love it, Betsy.
I wanted to share too. One thing I really like is that what we're doing is there's a script to follow, right? But then I saw that you weren't using exactly the words on the script. You were actually getting the essence of what was there. And I think if someone doesn't have that soft skill yet, you can just stay with the script, which is really nice. At the same time, if you do have that essence, go into that. Caution for those that are newer though, don't get off into a tangent that takes you down a whole other area, because you do want to stay fairly tight and succinct for the sake of them and the focus of the conversation, and for you, because when you do this, you're learning how to do it. And the mistake a lot of us have made in the past is going off into some other conversation or going into a tangent, and then your brain learns not to focus. So I really liked, Daniela, that you stay close to the script and then you went right through, and that I could see you getting right back on with it.
Yeah, I want to comment on that as well, Alex. Is sometimes we add filler because we're nervous. Mm-hmm. So we kind of, maybe, and sometimes I'll ask a question and they'll give 4 possible answers rather than just stopping and letting them answer, right? Because I'm kind of nervous and I'm kind of filling the gap. And so I love working with a script that has the minimum 4 points that I want to make. One of those points, when it's just in an outline, but it's a specific point, is, can I, like I said earlier, can I update you occasionally on how things are going? This kind of come back from the getting the word out script that Kim Fisk did, I don't know, 4 years ago or something. But can I update you occasionally on how things are going? To me, people say no to a newsletter, or they'll kind of say, yeah, but they don't really want a newsletter. But they do want to be updated on things that are in a newsletter, like a recipe, or those things like that. Anyway, so those are those things of staying on that script and having your bullet point, and at the end, it's like, okay, I hit all my points, I'm done. Even, so then that's my comment.
I would actually suggest that we consider upgrading that script so that it has, that on there, so it won't have to be a mind thing. And Daniela's already going, yep, did it. Like, got it on there. But this is us working together. I noticed that we were kind of going off on that second scenario, which was, the no, I'm busy and overwhelmed for a while. At the same time, that's going to come up like 1 out of every 5 times, right? It really is that they are going to be pretty excited for you. And I just want to say, as someone who has learned a script, I remember when I first started learning scripts, I hated them. Absolutely hated them, because they felt like I was trapped to something and they just felt inauthentic. Well, the truth was my authentic wasn't getting it done. What I knew, authentic meaning what was already in there. So we have to remember, for a period of time, with everything new, everything we're trying to learn new, it's not yet a part of who we are. So it's the reason we want to integrate it. And that helps me to embrace structure a lot more than I used to now. Hopefully that connected or made sense.
So I would just love to comment too, Alex. I think huge, yes. I mean, my brain went right to that needs to be number 4 on the script is, adding in the invitation to future contact or getting the word out through newsletter or something.
I'm sorry, Daniela, would you like some like gas stuff or some, you're having some, everything okay? I'm just kidding.
It's uncontrollable.
Yeah. You guys must have had a good Mexican dinner last night.
Everybody. Yeah. So one of the things that I was just going to comment is, and I did write it in the sideline, but I've never had anyone say no to a newsletter, like literally never. And the reason is, I believe, because I don't say, is it okay if I send you a newsletter? I say, hey, would you be willing to receive my weekly newsletter that has healthy tips and a weekly healthy recipe in it? Bam. Who does not want a weekly recipe, right? Everybody. So I've just never had anybody say no. And I've also never had anybody say no to doing something for me, like watching a video or whatever, with one exception. And that is, there was a death in the family that I didn't know about. And so that put a screeching halt, though, to my even asking that, right? So they didn't even really say no. I just didn't even go there, because when our conversation started out, that obviously wasn't going to be the time to be asking them. So I think people are so much more receptive to helping us out. I have had somebody say yes, and then they just never did it, which is just, I think, a statement to where their life is at the time. And somebody that I made note of that I might actually want to talk with about having life look a little different. So.
Very good.
I think we have one more scenario we were going to go through.
Yeah, so I'm going to be interacting with Kim, and it's going to be on Facebook, right? So for me, and I'm going to be really transparent here, Facebook has kind of been like the boogeyman in my life. I've not really liked it, because I didn't see a way to bridge, the likes and the comments and getting people onto a phone call or something like that. So, it's been an area in my own practice that has been a bit of a challenge for me. So I'm just going to be full disclosure. So no one here thinks that the 3 of us or the 5 of us really have all the answers. So just to lay a little background to this scenario, Kim is someone that I know through Facebook. We've never talked on the phone. We've just kind of, she's liked quite a few of my healthy recipes that I post. And then she liked this particular success story, and the name of the person is Nancy. So this is where the story picks up, okay? So, and we're going to be texting, but I'm not going to be texting because I can't do those 2 things at one time. So anyway, hey, Kim, thank you so much for the likes on my post about Nancy's health success story. It looks like you and I have a lot of things in common. I've noticed that you've liked a lot of my healthy recipes too. So I'm wondering, could you share with me what it was about Nancy's story that really inspired you?
Hi, Diane. Yes, I loved Nancy's story. It was very inspirational, and I'm always looking for healthy recipes. So thank you for sharing those, and you're such an inspiration yourself.
So can you tell me specifically what it was about Nancy's story that inspired you?
The fact that she got off of her medications was pretty amazing.
Wow, that is really inspirational. It is for me as well. Well, I'm wondering, would you be willing to help me out? I'm really trying to get the word out because there's a lot of people like Nancy in our world and in your world, and which is really different than my world. So I'm trying to get the word out about what it is I do as a health coach, because I find most people don't really know what that is. So would you be willing to watch a short video for me?
I could do that.
Great. When in the next couple of days do you see yourself being able to watch it?
Oh, next week sometime I could probably do.
Okay. Okay. Is there a day that looks better for you than any other day?
Wednesday would probably be my best day.
Okay, great. And to what email should I send the video link to?
jkstewart@gmail.com.
Wonderful. And I'm going to give you my phone number. Here it is, 360-798-1329. In case you run into any glitches trying to, run the video. What is your phone number?
360-464-3429.
Well, great. So then can we check in on Thursday for just about 5 or 10 minutes so I can answer any questions that you have about the video that you watched?
Sure. It would have to be in the evening.
Okay. Evenings are the best for me anyway. So around what time would be good?
Probably around 8.
8 o'clock. All right. It's a date. So I'll look forward to talking to you on Thursday evening at 8. Thank you so much, Kim.
Sure.
Right on.
So I was not very animated. I was just being like, this is my statement that I would type back. So
I know, and I can't help but be animated. So. That's how I am when I type.
You know what I loved about that scenario so much, Diane, is even though Kim wasn't being animated, you didn't change and you stayed on it. And the brain's going to want to tell you, oh, something's wrong or whatever. I have so many clients that are on this program now and who are even coaches now who just were like that when we first talked. Mm. And you have to just go with the flow, and you can't be assuming and jumping all over the place. They'll tell you if there's something they don't want to do or whatnot. And it's surprising how many people want you to be bold and consistent like that. But you were fun. Now, when I say bold, doesn't mean you're not smiling and, right there, but you were right on it. You did not skip it. And I love that about you.
Thank you. Well, that wouldn't have come across in the messaging necessarily, but that's.
Yeah. But as a conversation, even.
Yeah.
I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think, I was the whole time, I'm just like, wow, I wonder if Diane would type all, but you know what? I bet you would have typed all those words, just right. And, I know I do. And it does come across in your tone. And, I purposely kind of kept mine not emoting, because sometimes we get those responses, but we got to go with what they say, right? There was no, I won't do this. So there just wasn't much emotion. So.
Yeah. To be honest, I actually even forgot this was a text. And that was the scenario, which obviously speaks to how important it is to actually be on the phone if you can with someone, because you can't convey that. And tone is 30-something%, I think, of the conversation, and body language is 55% of the conversation. the words are only 7. So it's pretty big deal.
I have an idea around that just came to me is Messenger now allows you to use your voice.
Oh,
Mhm.
true.
So it opens up another opportunity for allowing them to hear
Mhm.
that animation, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could even do like a little video. They have the little 15-second videos. Hey, I was thinking about you today and blah, blah, blah. Or, I don't know, little different ways of connecting.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Well, and I was wondering too, just Diane, you had shared when we were talking about planning about this whole idea even, do you mind sharing that?
Well, I thought it was, I mean, I really had not connected the scripting with, Facebook likes and comments and stuff like that. I always kind of felt like I, didn't know what to do with it. And now, in fact, yesterday, a friend of mine liked a success story, and we're doing this. So, but yeah, it's, so anyway, we're always learning new things, right? And I think as we're building in more structure into our practice, that is making the biggest difference for me, because otherwise, I'm just kind of winging it, and I can wing it, but it's not always effective. So.
Yeah. And I just realized I have had a lot of conversation or connections where I've had people like every single before and after picture I put up. And I'm even trying to engage them like, thank you so much for liking this. I mean, I actually am sending messages and it doesn't go anywhere. Well, now I'm like, well, I could definitely, they're very supportive of all these things. Would you learn more about what I'm doing so that you might be able to help other people have these same stories?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of opportunities there that, just kind of come to you as your mind is open. It's like when you buy a new car and you're looking at one brand, all of a sudden you see all the same kinds of cars.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I just want to reaffirm how important it is to create a situation where you can actually talk to a human being. I've had so many people on Facebook that will stay in the like world. And until I get them on the conversation where we go for coffee or we're on a video chat, phone, video, or actual in person, it stays in that same loop. And I have a curiosity as to why we're staying in the like stage and how come we haven't moved it on and they don't respond there. And I decided a long time ago, and now I do it, to be bold enough to ask them and say, hey, George, I've been thinking about you a lot. We haven't actually talked, I know we comment and post on some of the health pictures and things like that, but I'd just love to catch up with you. And that's a voice message to them if they don't answer. They can hear that tone change, that intensity about you. And when we had that conversation, this is a real scenario, it was a wonderful conversation. And I was curious enough to ask him, hey, I know you like and comment on a lot of my stuff. How come we've never really talked about health? And he's like, man, honestly, I just felt like I was going to be sold something and I was afraid. He goes, I'm actually interested. Boom. Signed up as a client. But that's that interruption of the pattern. If there's a pattern going on and you don't like it, break it.
Well, there's two things going on there, Alex, that I see. You were paying attention to the likes.
Mm-hmm.
What if you never paid attention to who liked your stuff and saw a pattern?
Yeah.
And then you were able to interrupt that pattern by reaching out and connecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's the key. How I track the pattern is I put everyone who likes or comments on my list, and I put a note every time they like or comment that they like, comment, like, comment, like, comment. And if you just did that, it seems like it's a lot of work. It's not. If I'm going to be on Facebook, I'm going to be on there intentionally, like looking through. And I just take that 15 to 20 minutes when I go through and look at my post, and then I can move them up the date that these are the, anyhow, long story short, there's a system behind this. And we probably should teach sometime really soon how to make life a whole lot easier for you to keep track of all these little conversations and likes that are happening.
There's actually a video that's already been created.
Thank you.
On how to do that very thing.
And did I create it or did someone else create it or where is it?
So, well, it's in Simple Systems and it's on how to manage, your coming out on Facebook, how to manage likes, how to.
Perfect. And they have a tracking system that talks about that. Perfect. And that's, hey,
I think it's, isn't it Gina Eccles, the Facebook 101, or has it been updated since then?
Yeah, it's the Facebook 101. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that is in Simple Systems. I just, because we're getting close to the end, there's been some questions in the chat that I would love to address and have the team, Alex, Craig, and my lady friends too, help me address. One question was, what video do you like to send? And I think, that one, he's throwing things out of his playpen now.
Oh, yeah.
But that one has to do with who you're sending to, really, is part of it, and probably a super great conversation to have with your mentor. But I don't know, and then where to find those videos is in Simple Systems as well.
Here's a question. Well, here's an action item. I'm starting to do this, but what if we put an hour aside and you went and you watched as many videos that are on that trilogy or section for new clients or pre-clients, and you just spent an hour and watching as many videos as you can, and you took a couple notes so that you knew in the back in your mind, oh, I'm dealing with, it's a woman, she's this, I'm going to send that video, because I don't know what's in those videos, and I just know who did them. I don't know what's in those videos unless I watch them, and it takes time to watch them. So anyway, that's my own process.
And that's huge. And I think that's the same vein of conversation with a lot of the comments, like, asking to post a certain video or things like that. Well, they're all in there, and you can hit the command find and type in what it is that you're looking for, and it'll bring them up for you. So then it's just a matter of take some time and become familiar with what that is. So if you type in Facebook 101, it will show you. And oh, look, Craig is going to do his magic and illustrate.
You're muted, Craig. I was just thinking, for the sake of time also, let's see if we can answer these questions quickly and succinctly to get everybody's filtered.
Yeah, so let's see, I lost the chat to allow me to.
Let me go to one question then. So Craig's showing us how to search the trilogy document. And on this document also is, Carrie, you asked a question about, is there a 15-minute one, right? There is. Becca Tinner did a very laser-focused trilogy presentation. And the other thing is, if you have a person that you're layering for health and you just have a strong sense that the business opportunity piece is going to turn them off, or it's not the right fit right now, remember, you get to frame up what they focus on in the video they watch ahead of time. So what I do is I don't leave it up to the whole video to get them excited. I talk to them and say, hey, based on what you're looking for, I'm sending you a video, and I wanted you to know the whole video is great, but some of it goes into what we do as health coaches, and some of it goes into just what we do for clients, okay? So take a look and just focus on that piece. If you want to know specifically, right around minute number 5 to minute number 20, that's the spot right there where it really has some great stories that I think are relevant to you. At the same time, feel free to take a look at the whole overview. Obviously, I got excited and I decided to pay my health forward. Boom. Does that help, Carrie? So you can take ones that maybe Becca's is too laser and it goes too much of the business. But Dan Valentine did this really great one, but it's minute 7 to minute number bang, and then you tell them. Cool. Minute bang is a new minute, by the way, on the clock.
Well, and the thing is you got to learn when minute bang happens by watching them.
Mm-hmm.
Become a master of your tools so you can wield them appropriately.
Think in the client's mind and the client's eyes when you're watching those. Other questions on there?
So can we get maybe those of you set your intention? I'm going to set aside, if you haven't done those, and maybe even put that in the chat. I'm going to set aside an hour, and here's when it is, and just chat that out to everybody, and that way we can talk, maybe discuss that next week, what we're going to do.
Yeah, another action step that might be good to combine with that would be, looking at your master contact list and picking out either a person or a group of people, you know, whether that's, oh, I've got these acquaintances, or I've got all of these people that like a lot of my stuff. And so this is the person, and this is the purpose of my invitation. If you're looking for some time to take action on connecting the person to the invitation, you know, attending a power hour would be great to do that work.
I have one more thing. This was a great training, and it had some amazing content in it, genuinely, that would make life a whole lot simpler if embraced and acted on. And I'm going back again to my brain of why did I not practice my story in the beginning? Why did I not use the scripts that were there that were proven? And it's because I was literally resistant to the learning curve of the structure. I was resistant to that training of doing something a certain way. And it was just easier in the beginning, but the reality was it was much harder, and it extended my success by months and months and months until that happened. And so if you identify that there is an opportunity to get something really laid down as a system in the mind, like let your mentor coach know that this is a piece, I don't have this down yet, I've been resistant to this. Could you hold me accountable? Could you help me with this? And I'm going to stay on this until I get it. Shockingly, I think you'll only find it takes about a day of going through, and all of a sudden you're like, what was I so stressed about with that?
And it frees up this energy flow in your mind that will be unbelievably powerful for you.
Yeah.
Like, imagine a day to have all that junk out of your brain.
Yeah.
All those.
And then you're like, man, now I can learn a new one, and it only takes about a day, and that one's going, and you keep practicing that. You don't let that one go. Wow.
Well, and that just
health coaching becomes fun all of a sudden. It's like, wow, these conversations are fun.
Yes. Well, and that just reminded me of a point that I forgot to mention earlier. So that example I gave at the very beginning, where you're all set to take action, and then all of a sudden you freeze. So if we have identified clearly our person, and the invitation is appropriately matched to that person, and we still feel that resistance, like you're talking about, Alex, most likely it's just that we need to act.
Yeah,
we've got all the pieces in place, and and I love what you said. Talk to your mentor. If you're like, okay, it seems appropriate, I don't see any flaws with how I've got it phrased to go with the person, then maybe it's just like, hey, let's do it right now. And you just need that cheer section or something else just to get you over that hump, and then into that place that you were talking about, where that energy is flowing, and you're like, oh, it was not nearly as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the values of doing power hours, and because we pile into something like this, and then you take one of those action items and then you do it. And so we have a power hour that happens every week right after this. Mm-hmm. And if you want, I can give you guys the number to log into that. And then if you just take that time, maybe you could actually, for the next hour, jump in the power with the rest of us, and then just so you have some accountability, and then watch some of those videos. Or, so the power hour, it's a webinar function. If you have a pen, I'll give you the number.
Yeah. It's
893-173-956. 956. That's 893-173-956. And use those. If you can't figure out how to get yourself to stay focused, pop in the power hour. And it'll be really odd just to be, surfing YouTube while you're on the power hour. It'll feel awkward, so if that helps. And I posted, if you go to Simple Systems and search, so you hit your go to find social media, you'll see a whole section in the Simple Systems on social media. We'll click on some of those links if that's what you want to learn.
Is there an easy link to that from the OHC site, or is maybe there's a reason not to have it there?
Well, Simple Systems is ideally senior coach and above.
Okay.
Right? Because it'll overwhelm somebody that's not quite senior coach. Potentially, it depends on their skill level, but that's why.
Great.
Yep. All right, here we go.
All right, guys. Well, that great. Thanks for the training today. Really good stuff.
Yep.
Post on the OHC as soon as you're done with this what your action steps are going to be, and so put it out there. I would challenge every one of you that says, I'm going to do my hour of watching this time, so we can comment, did you do it? Right? Let's get for reals. Let's get serious. Let's get that clutter out so we can start really being creative. Thank you guys for your time, and I'm going to jump over to the Power Hour, and if you'd like to do that, you can join me. Thank you, Daniela and Kim and Diane, for this presentation this morning. See you guys next time.
See ya.